couple hours.
Well, I hope he'll be there for a couple hours because it's time for Radio Free Cybertron. I'm Exvee, and this is episode 689. Brian is off in the Bahamas or something. I'm not exactly sure. He was here for a minute and then just kind of disappeared, so I assume he's dashed off on some exotic vacation.
Did you say 689?
689?
6 must have been really hungry.
No. What they did is they opened up new sheets in the Bahamas, so he had to go check out the new sheets.
Yeah. Yes, the Kilbys do love their sheets. So that was Headmaster Don, and also Diecast making terrible jokes. As if he were Don himself. Yes. Also with us is Rob Clay.
Hi.
And John DeLuna, who may or may not be listening, but he's muted. Oh, there he is.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. I'd like to point out two things. We are recording just a second, Don. I got 2 points. One.
Go ahead.
Brian put us on a new platform and left. And two, why is there not a review podcast called Between the Sheets that is hosted by Brian, where he reviews a different Sheets location every week? I feel like we're being, denied something.
In a world where we could still reasonably travel on a whim, that would be a great idea. I feel like it doesn't have as much leg now.
All right. Coming to you in 2022. Between the Sheets with Brian.
Yeah. We hope. I'm now picturing this weird blend. For those of you that remembers Charles Garalt before he was doing Sunday Morning, Brian and Kim and the kids traveling the world or the U.S., going to different sheets and talking to people and getting their stories. I can see Brian doing that.
Yeah. It does sound like something Brian would be really excited about for about 3 weeks, and then he would come home and we would never hear about it again.
Also fine.
So, like John pointed out, we're on a different platform this week. We've done a little bit of testing with this before. The Emergency Kingdom Leakcast that you may have listened to in the last few days was recorded using this platform. Unfortunately, one of the shortcomings of this is that not all of us have administrative access to let people on the call. So right now we're unfortunately short Matt because none of us are able to actually answer when he's trying to get in. So sorry about that, Matt. But that's why Matt's not here right now this week. Hopefully, we'll be able to facilitate him joining as the show progresses. But in the meantime, let's see what we've got going on this week. So this is Radio Free Cybertron, which is the original Transformers podcast. Do you know how original Radio Free Cybertron is? Radio Free Cybertron existed before the word podcast existed. That's how old we are. We've been doing this mostly on since 1999, but also a few years off because, life finds a way or something. I guess it doesn't really work in this context, but you know what I mean. We've got hundreds and hundreds of episodes in our archive, and our archive contains more than just the Transformers podcast, too. There's, old Power Rangers, the Super Sentai Toku podcast, Superhero Time. There's episodes of the minicast, which John has headed up on and off over the years. There's the classic New Soundwave, which John made just brilliant in his time running that show.
I don't know.
Well, we should bring it back now at New Sound Blaster. Just to
with the great decline of the video game industry, what's the point anyway?
Talk about retro stuff. It's not like there's totally not podcasts about that already.
No, that's an opportunity for sure.
Come on, man! You have 2 systems coming out this year or next year.
The retro video gaming podcast would be Old Soundwave, I guess.
Yes, Soundwave
doesn't really have the same ring to it, does it?
No, sorry. Oh, I also had the thought of doing a podcast called Retro Bots, but that's trademarked to Kingdom Come. That term was taken 25 years ago.
Oh. Whoops.
Yeah. Oh, well, whatever.
Yeah, we've got a lot of different kind of shows in our archive, and actually one may be making a comeback very soon as semi-patron exclusive. So just recently, Hey Mickey, Ken, who you may know from the infamous Ken Scream, Mickey, Ken, and I got together and we recorded the first in what hopefully will be a returning series of that one episode of Star Trek.
All right.
We started off with the Star Trek Voyager episode Meld at Hey Mickey's insistence, and I say Hey Mickey's insistence like I, was begrudged against the idea, but actually it's a good episode, and even Ken enjoyed it, and he hated Voyager the first time we tried to have a Star Trek podcast with him. So the way this is going to work right now is new episodes are going to be produced and released twice a month. And for about 2 weeks, they're going to be exclusive to our patrons. After 2 weeks, they will go live for everybody. But if you want to get early access to that and help support us making more episodes of the show, please do consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/tfradio. I haven't worked out the details with Brian yet, but I'm just going to go ahead and go on record that any patron tier will get access to this when it posts. So I'm locking Kilby into that unless he edits this out of the show when he comes back and post produces this. But that's my intention as the author. So that that has final say, obviously. Hey, Matt joined us. Hi, Matt.
Hello.
Matt has joined us, but he's on mute right now. So hopefully he'll get that sorted out in a minute.
He's incrementally joining us.
Yes, this is great progress, though. I'm really excited. But yeah, if you want to get the first episode of the return of that one episode of Star Trek, we're planning for that to go up on the patron feed this weekend. So probably by Saturday the 29th, you'll be able to find that on the RFC Patreon podcast feed. Also, I think we just lost Matt again, but that was progress.
Oh,
so. I'm sorry, I was just trying to catch up with our internal chat here because we have differences of opinion going on. So, in the meantime, though, be sure to come and check out our Discord channel. We're at tfradio.net/Discord. It's the main place we watch our audience chat from. Usually Brian's been the one who will still monitor the YouTube live stream chat, but Brian's not here this week, and even he's starting to get out of the habit of that. So definitely come and join the Discord. You can hang out and chat all week long. There's always people in there. When leaks and stuff happen, people are usually sharing that around. So it's a good place to kind of keep up with what's going on in the Transformers space. Also, in terms of patron exclusive podcasts, don't forget about the This Week in History podcast. We'll have new episodes of that going up on the patron feed. That I'm pretty sure is entirely patron exclusive, so there's not going to be a public release of that later. So definitely come and join our Patreon if you want to get access to that. We sit around and talk about things that have happened, a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And just kind of reminisce on some of the events in the history of the fandom. It's a pretty interesting time. I think that's it for the usual preamble. So hopefully Matt will show back up at some point. But in the meantime, did anybody get anything this week? Don, how about we go with you first?
Good. I'm glad you did because I certainly got a few things.
Okay.
I was down visiting. I did a toy crawl with my friend Fred, who I mentioned before, down in Greensboro, and went by Ed McKay's, which is a really good place to find things. And I have this figure, but I don't have one to open. It's the Toy Biz Marvel Legends Mutant Armor Professor Xavier. And this is one of the old classic Toy Biz figures. Because this was sort of an oddity because it was supposed to be the living laser figure.
Right.
And they did not make the living laser figure, so they reused the head from their Charles Xavier figure and made it like an astral projection armored up, kind of like you would expect Primus from the Transformers mythos, Charles in like his armor. And again, I have this figure carded, but I never saw another one reasonably priced to open, and this one, the card is in worse shape than the one I've got, so this is the one I'm going to open. So it's just It's sort of a weird figure that it wouldn't even exist if they had done Living Laser. So that was kind of a thing. Also, while I was down there doing the toy run, I found Earthrise Rung. So I was able to get that figure back because Rob,
Nice.
I sent Rob mine because Rung doesn't hold the meaning to me like it does for him having been read the IDW. But I was glad I was able to get a regular one to go with the red one that came with Ultra Magnus. Picked up Meteor Fire. Not crazy about the way the ship mode looks, but the robot mode looks really, really nice. I really like the way the stance, the layout, the proportions. It's just a really good looking robot mode, and I wanted to give it a try. And also, like I said, for Wild Wheel and the other Cyberverse stuff, since we don't really know what's going to happen with the line, it looks like it may be continuing since we talked getting the Skull Cruncher that we talked about last week. But again, these things could be show up one time and then not show up again, or they could flood your local Ross and Ollie's or something at Christmas. We don't know. So I figured I'd get it while the getting's good. And the other thing I picked up was a complete impulse buy. I'm not sure why I bought it, but finding a Masterpiece in the store is kind of an interesting thing. So I went ahead and picked up Masterpiece Starscream at Target today. I've never really had a problem with the Starscream design, other than all the toys up to this point, with the exception of the original leader figure that they got in Japan as the Masterpiece, in the first MPM 01 or 02 for that movie line. I liked it, so I'm going to give this a try. I don't know how I haven't watched any reviews. It's just being Target. We don't know how long this is going to hang around, or if it's ever going to come back in stock again, or if they made more than 4. So I decided to go ahead and take a chance and get it while it was there. I bought one and left one for somebody else. So I'll give it a shot and see how it turns out.
That's pretty extravagant, Don. $150 gamble like that.
Well, yeah, but I've got some overtime. I've had some good sales recently. I've got a whole pile of stuff lined up, so I'm kind of spending money in the hopes that I'll be getting some of it back later on through some eBay and Twitter sales. But again, it's more like buying a Masterpiece at retail.
Yeah,
It's kind of
I understand.
It's kind of a weird thing, and I want to see if they can fix some of the problems I've had with Starscream in the past. Hopefully having enough mass to actually handle some of the stuff without giant missile hands or hands sticking out of the back, things like that. So we'll see. It's a gamble, but
$150 is better.
Yeah. It's just I'm sort of pre-Dononomics in this, hoping I'll be able to get some money down the road to justify it. So
That sounds like irresponsible Dononomics, Don.
yeah, but I don't do it too often. So there's that.
Yeah.
Yes, I know I made a mistake, Master.
And
You don't
there's
got to chime in too. There's Cap. So that's all I got this week,
Oh, okay.
which I think was enough.
Yeah, no, I think that's a pretty good haul. Diecast, why don't you go next?
Oh, okay. Well, the first thing I got in the mail is this is the counterfeit MP44.
Oh no, how dare!
Yeah,
The fourth party.
it is. Yeah, whatever you want to call it. It's counterfeit.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the one.
It's not
Yep.
painted like the MP44 is. So this is just red plastic as opposed to red with paint, I guess is what the official. I don't have the official, so I don't know. This is just what I'm going by. I thought it didn't have the voice chip, but apparently just didn't have batteries in it. And unless I'm doing something wrong, they totally took out the Peter Cullen American voice. So
No.
it's all.
No, I've watched a review. I watched a review diecast. It's in there. It's lifted straight from the toy, straight from the cartoon. But yeah, it's in there. Ben's Collectibles had a review of it not long ago, and he showed off the voice clips. So the American clips should be in there. I think you have to hold it down a certain amount of time for it to switch over. I can't remember for
there's
sure.
like a mode change function, I think, in the
Oh,
original.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, check out Ben's review because he shows off the Chinese and the American voice clips.
Okay. And there are some, stress marks on it already, and I didn't even transform it like
Ooh.
at the heels.
Is it like a misfired pin kind of thing?
Yeah, or maybe the hole was a little bit too small for the pin.
Yeah.
And then the legs, for me, don't really like this leg. Really doesn't want to stay together properly. But like I don't know if it was mistransformed or whatever. And
Or
then
it's just
the
a
other-
counterfeit.
Yeah, the other thing that's really weird is the smokestack on this side has a lot of definition for the the holes or whatever, and this one not so much. It's more smooth than the other side, so it's obviously a counterfeit. But it's as Don always says, like I just wanted to experience this mold. So this was a way to do it without paying $450. And this didn't come with the trailer, but it came with everything else. Like it came with the Starscream accessories and the 2 extra heads. And
Well, it doesn't come with a spike and the roller,
right?
but you get the gun, the axe,
The backpack
and the backpack and the Starscream parts. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that
Yeah.
seems like enough. So I was thinking, instead of calling that kind of thing fourth party, why don't we call it like guilty party?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I agree. There's a lot of. I mean, it's definitely a knockoff. It's definitely counterfeit. But I have to admit, at least again, like what Diecast said, what I was thinking, at least we can have the mold and see it, because MP44 is just way overpriced for even the upper middle collector to afford responsibly. And even Black Convoy without all the stuff is still pushing $250.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
But the really nice thing, thanks to Exvee's links, I got some cone heads.
Sure didn't do me any good, though, did it?
No. Maybe you got them too early. Maybe that's what it was. Apparently a lot of people were having like paint issues on the white one,
Ramjet.
some red paint splatters on the white. Mine actually is pretty perfect. I don't have any paint splatters anywhere, and normally I do, so that's strange.
No physical defects either?
No, not that I know of. What were people having problems with? Like the knees being backwards or something?
So what I was seeing was a lot of the, well, I say a lot, but like more than one instance of Ramjet having 2 of the left shin panel, which you can tell by the design on the kneecaps, the circle and straight line next to each other. If they're opposite on each side, then it's correct. If it's the same orientation on both sides, then it's misassembled. But you'd be able to tell, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, mine are good.
Yeah.
So I got
that was the most prevalent thing. I also heard one case of the canopy piece on the part of the nose that folds back being missing on one, which again is a really obvious thing to be able to tell.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah.
That didn't. These don't have that.
Yeah. I'm glad you got good copies of them, since like it's literally impossible to replace them.
And I usually always end up losing the QC lottery, so it's
but
nice
most of the
to
time you get the stuff off Taobao, and that's kind of to be expected.
Well, yeah, Taobao's expected, but
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now one thing is that with the recent, I'm not sure if this is in the show notes. I'm trying to keep my number of windows open, but they did reissue Omega Supreme and Jetfire.
That's not in the show notes. So
maybe
there are pre-orders up for Omega, Jetfire, the Generation Selects Spy Patrol 3rd Unit, which is the Power Masters and Frenzy and Wing Thing set, and one other. What was the other one?
the
Ectotron.
Ectotron.
Yeah. So all those are coming early next
Megatron,
year.
yeah. So maybe they'll do a reissue of this Thrust and Dirge, because we know the mold's still being used for Sandstorm. So maybe they'll see the same problems that they did with Omega and Jetfire and do a reissue later on. So
it's possible. I was talking with Toybox Soapbox on Twitter this morning, and he was saying that overseas sellers don't even have access to order this set for sale in their regions. It was that hard to come by. So I would not be surprised if another run happens, even if just to mainly provide for other markets in the world, and then hopefully the US would also get a portion of those too, to satisfy some of the demand that wasn't met here.
Yeah. And then the last thing I got is I got the Alpha 5 and Zordon. So lots of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers stuff. It's I'm man, I got so much between the last 2-3 weeks, because I also got the Rita Repulsa Lord Zed 2-pack, and now I got this. Hopefully I'll find the Morpher. If not, I have my Walmart, .com pre-order, but who knows when that'll actually ship. Because I still never got my my Netflix figures from Walmart.com. So
that you pre-ordered in February.
Yeah, February, and then it's been in stores for 3 months.
Yeah, I'm eyeing my $49 Skylynx pre-order and just kind of praying on that one.
Same.
You'll get it if they do a reissue.
Yeah. So on that note, Rob, did you get anything this week?
I did get a few things this week. When we were doing the Leakcast last week, and I also pre-ordered Sandstorm and G2 Megatron, I found out that Amazon had Siege Crosshairs for slightly under retail. Oh, yeah. And I had not gotten him on the first time around, because at that point I wasn't really prepared to go into duplicates of molds unless they were major characters, and now I am, which is nice. So Crosshairs is really, really nice. Just like Ratchet does not have the problem with the leg flaps that Ironhide had. There are no repairs needed there. It's a really nice deco. It's one of those decos where what I assume are details emulating the original figure in tampograph form work really well with the surfaces they have to work with. And I really like how the white interior to the driver compartment just kind of makes the whole chest just kind of stand out from the rest of the deco. It's a really nice deco. It's a good head sculpt. I have found interestingly though, it likes to get stuck tilting backwards sometimes. There's the place where it wants to lock, looking up. And I don't quite understand it myself, but I once I figured out what it was doing, I was at least able to get it back out of that. But yeah, good toy. Happy I got it. Other than that, there's something else I got, and I cannot actually remember what it is now. Which is thank you, Brain. Finally, I got a couple of the Snapships kits that. Hey Mickey was singing the praises of on Twitter, and the core component of those are basically an upgraded version of Zoids blocks. It's the same basic concept. It's a little plastic block with sockets on each side. What they've done though is they have added a basically square housing around the socket, so that if you wanted to make a piece that did not move in Zoids blocks, you needed a set of brackets on sides that you weren't otherwise using to hold things still. Snapships just hold still because they have those square pegs that you can use to lock things together securely. So it's a really nice upgrade. You can just tell the influence from Zoids blocks is there. They are not cross-compatible, which is about the only... it's a silly complaint to have. It is not a complaint even really worth worrying about to anybody in the long run, but man, that would have been a nice touch. But these are larger. They are definitely not the same scale, and they, so those lines will remain separate. But they are really nice, and I'm glad I got them. I don't know if I'm going to get any more of that right now, but I'm definitely going to keep an eye on the designs that they release in the future to see if anything strikes my fancy.
Cool.
And that's about all I got this week.
John, you got anything for us?
I can't remember if I mentioned last week. I don't think I did. I certainly didn't open him, but I did get Scorponok from Target.com. That was a completely random bit of luck where I was just like browsing Target and he was in stock before the alerts went out. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, I opened him. He's fun. He's, I've heard a lot of people really kind of praise his robot proportions. I got to say I don't love them only because like we have plenty of V-chested, skinny-legged, massive shoulder, big arm male robots. He's definitely like superhero proportioned, which I get if you like that for sure, man. But we have a surplus of that. One thing I did like about the G1 Scorponok was he's definitely as humanoid as possible. He's a lobster man, but he's pretty stocky. He's pretty thick from head to toe. And not that. He's not built like Superman. This one is built like Superman. It's fine. But it's also, whatever. But he's impressive. He's huge. He's way bigger than Make Toys Pandanus, but I think they weigh about the same because Pandanus is just a cube of plastic. I think I'm going to keep both. I fully planned on selling my Make Toys not Scorponok and not Black Zarek, but they're so different, and I still appreciate what Make Toys like tried to do.
Oh yeah,
those years ago. So it happens every now and then, but I usually replace third-party stuff with first-party stuff. I think on this one, I'm just going to keep him just because I appreciate what those two did. The other thing I got was a little bit off topic, but I am one of those NECA people trying to collect the cartoon line that's exclusive to Target for Ninja Turtles, and it's getting better. As an update on that, because I talked about that a few weeks ago, they haven't like put anything in stone as of this recording, but they're dropping enough hints where it appears that some, if not all, of the restocks or the I should say not necessarily restocks, the like the second production run of these toys, they're going to put up for pre-order on their site as well. So when they go into the next time the next time they go into another production run for Target, it really sounds like they've gotten approval from Target to also put it up for a week or so on their site for pre-orders, and then they're going to produce to the number of pre-orders on top of Target's order. So that's a really good compromise. That's like I think a big win for everybody. Yes, it does mean that you're pre-ordering, and in this case, you're paying up front, but you're pre-ordering and paying for something that you won't get for a couple months. But nothing's perfect. And like if your objective is like I want toys and like I want a reasonable way to get them, this is probably as good as you're going to get, especially because like when they signed this deal, it was an exclusive toy line for Target. So it's, you got to give credit where credit's due. Target kind of, gave a little bit, and they're giving people a way to, log into their site, pre-order like 7 days to do it. And you're going to get the toy in a couple months. So, it's hard for a reasonable person to like complain. So anyway,
yeah,
I got one of the latest releases, which is Slash and Leatherhead. And they're great. They're awesome. The Slash, they're actually doing two designs with Slash. They did a Slash designed based on the Konami beat 'em up game, and then they did a Slash that was designed based on the cartoon, and they look nothing like each other. So I picked up obviously the cartoon version. They're really cool. One last thing that I will give NECA credit for is that for the most part, the 2-packs for this line are $52. And that is $52 regardless of how big or small the characters actually are in the 2-pack, and they're effectively trying to do scale. So I really appreciate that. So like a Bebop and Rocksteady 2-pack is probably 20%, easily 20% more girth than a 2-pack of Turtles, but they're the same price point. So, I appreciate that. And at a baseline, like a Turtle 2-pack, where each character's, about $23, $24, not counting tax, plus a bunch of accessories, that's fair. So I appreciate that they're not like kind of like nickel and diming us with 5 or 6 different price points, because they probably could, but they're not. So I appreciate that. Anyway, so as of this point, I am just one 2-pack behind on what things have been released, and the one I have yet to get, which I'm pretty sure I'll get at some point somehow, is April and a Foot Soldier. And I'm not going to get into the feedback people have had over the sculpt for April, but she's not being exactly well received. And I will grant everybody that probably a team that is dominated by men, the batting average for sculpting a female, can be here and there. We'll put it that way. But there's also a chance for like April version 2 at some point down the line. But beggars can't be choosers. I'll take her. And yeah, so I'm happy. I got Scorponok. He's cool. He's great. I got Leatherhead and Slash. They're cool. They're great. It's a miracle I got them. Really, either of them, but especially the NECA ones. So yeah, it was a pretty good week, I would say, for me.
Well, John, I was mentioning this in pre-show. My target got in 3 of the April Foot Soldier 2-pack apparently today, because they weren't there when I checked the other day.
Oh yeah.
So do you need me to pick you one up if they're there the next time I go by?
If they're there the next time you go by, text me.
Okay.
Because yeah, possibly.
Yeah, because I'm not collecting the line. I'm just trying to help people find it. And April, no.
I'm too far in, man. I'm too deep, Don. I got to do it. I'm sorry, but yes, I do not disagree that it's not the best likeness, to put it nicely. But again, when you're like 10 figures deep into collecting a line, it's too late. I've committed.
That's far too late.
Yeah, it's way too late.
Because, like, if you don't buy that $50 set, then the 10 previous $50 sets you bought have been complete waste of time and money, basically.
I know. It's the
like,
sunk cost.
You might as well just burn that $500 instead of spending it on those turtle figures.
It's the fallacy of the sunk cost theory of toy collecting. But I'm looking at at least 2 of you guys, your backgrounds, and looking behind me, and we're guilty as charged.
Okay.
See, the good thing is doing this keeps us out of the pool halls and the other places of ill repute.
I wish I
Keeps us
would
off
have
the
wanted
street
to play
corner, yeah.
pool. Right, anyway, so I'll wrap up what we got this week. So, just delivered today from Target, I got the Earthrise Micromasters Wave 2. So this is, I don't even remember what patrol these are from, but it's Groundhog and Roller Force. And
The Racetrack Patrol?
yeah, and then I know this is the Astro Squad. This is Blastmaster and Fuser, or Phaser in the original name. So I just got these delivered today, and that took about 8 days from Target's website. So thanks for that. And because Target enforces a minimum order quantity on some products like Micromasters and Battlemasters, I also got 2 BotBots packs just to make the minimum. So these are 8 packs from Series 4, I think is the orange one. Series 3 or Series 4. Oh yeah, Series 3, it says on the back. These are the 8 packs. These cost me about $8 each because Target was clearing them out. So I I basically got just over the minimum order threshold, and I got an assortment of bots I don't have yet. Cause like I totally didn't have the avocado dude in here, or the teddy bear in this one. Like, so there's a bunch of these that I don't have. So that will be a fun novelty at a later time.
So are bots dead now?
I mean, considering Target's like the only retail space that wants to support bots at all anymore, probably. I mean, we certainly haven't heard anything about it since months and months ago.
And I never got my basketball.
Yeah, I know, right?
Jeez.
And like they have spheres that they could have like just painted and made a basketball, and they never did. And yeah. See.
Why are you channeling Christopher Walken? You were channeling for like 2 seconds. You were channeling Christopher Walken. Well, the way you were talking.
Sometimes. See, where did this come from? This was from Amazon. I got Earthrise Snapdragon. I was skeptical when Kilby was kind of panning this when he got it recently. No, he's pretty spot on with it. To Rob's horror, when I was talking about this on Twitter, I said it may be Pine for Ape Face. I should probably clarify that a little bit. Like Ape Face, when I was messing with it, it felt like stuff was going on with the toy. Maybe not good things, but it felt like stuff was going on with the toy. With this, it just feels like there's nothing to it. Like all the processes are so insubstantial. I don't know. It doesn't feel like a Voyager. It's the size of a Voyager, but it doesn't feel like there's any substance to it. Like the complexity, and it even feels kind of light. Like I tend to not want to just like dismiss toys because of how heavy they feel for their price point, but like it really is just not lending a good image to this in my head. I don't want to say it does anything like particularly super wrong in any mode. Everything's just really simple and not super engaging to me, but like it's all kind of fine, sort of. I don't know. It's a little bit hard to quantify, but like at least with Ape Face, I had more of a feeling about messing with it. With this, it's something that's kind of, I feel numb more than anything. And like Hey Mickey has said on many occasions, it's better to be bad than boring, because at least that's memorable.
Yeah.
Chris, let me ask you a question.
Yeah, sure.
Do you think maybe there's a difference in the experience because Snapdragon has always had a better use of his mass, like versus he's not a flying plank, versus Snapdragon's always been a lot more compact. Everything seems to have a place where to go, whereas Ape Face is just a flying slab with parts stuck on it. Do you think maybe it's a little more boring to you because stuff kind of goes where it needs to go and it doesn't have that hanging off that you're having to move so much stuff at once, that it's using the mass better, so it's a little more boring because it's more streamlined?
I don't know. It doesn't feel like the toy is really doing much of anything between modes. And I think that's like a big knock for me. Like, I don't feel like I'm really accomplishing much as I'm going between. The one thing about this that I did discover that I kind of like is like, it's called Snapdragon, but obviously it's a dinosaur. So you can kind of go from like modern interpretation, biped dinosaur, where it's, straight tail, basically flat back. Or you can do the tail dragging because the neck can pose and still look forward. So if you like your 80s style dinosaurs or your more modern style dinosaurs, you're covered either way with this, and I kind of appreciate that at least. So I was able to find a positive about this, just kind of a really weird thing to focus on to be positive about.
Okay, I just was wondering maybe it was boring because it was a little more competent in the way the mass was being shifted.
No, it just feels like it's not trying as hard.
Okay.
See, I got gifted off of my Amazon wish list the DVD set of Time Ranger. Unfortunately, I don't know who sent this because the note only had an @ and an exclamation mark on it. and I'm pretty sure I can't identify the sender from that. So this will be fun, though. I've only seen a few episodes of Time Ranger when it was originally being fan subbed, and the fan subbing project never got very far. So I've never even seen like Time Fire's introduction. So I'm looking forward to catching back up with that.
So it's time for Time Force.
Yes, Don. So I forgot to bring it in here with me to show off on camera, but I will talk about Generation Select's hubcap a little bit, which I got actually before last week's show, but I wasn't here last week. It's definitely the Cliffjumper body with a new head, and it has all the same inherent problems, which mostly comes down to the excessive use of paint on the toy. Anybody who has Cliffjumper and has transformed it a few times is probably familiar with the paint rubbing off of parts of the shoulder blocks. Hubcap has done that already after just a couple of transformations, which is very unfortunate. Something I didn't realize about Cliffjumper at the time was the entire car body is painted. Hubcaps is also all painted, this time in a very glossy light yellow, which I kind of hate because it photographs terribly and it also just looks weird in real life too. Somebody was saying like it's a realistic color you would find on actual cars, and I don't like that color on real cars. I've seen that on real cars. I know what they're talking about, and I don't really care for that there either. But like apart from that, hubcap is pretty much fine. If you like the Cliffjumper mold and are okay with it for its price point, you know, it's not going to be really that different of an experience, and it's another thing to check off the list. I did a gallery of that. You can find it at playwithphotography.com. That's been up there for a few days now. I did my best to try to photograph that and, you know, get all the details clear and not have the yellow look like it was photoshopped on, which was a big problem I was having early in the process with that. So then finally, I guess I will go into the item with a little bit of a story, which is Earthrise Skylynx. So Skylynx is a commander class, which is an $80 toy. I paid $42.50 for this one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
How? That's why I've been waiting all week to...
Okay, so recently, like 3 or 4 weeks ago now, Target had a little pop-up for, basically it's a sign-up drive for their red card, which either comes as a actual credit card or as a debit card you can link to an existing account somewhere. But they had a thing where if you signed up for it, they would send you a coupon for $40 off an order of $40 or more. So I went ahead and did that, and I got the coupon, and then spent the next 3 weeks trying to catch Skylynx where in some state where it was orderable off of Target's website, which never happened. But I did notice one morning it came into limited stock status at the nearest Target to me. And when I say nearest Target, that's still like an hour drive one direction. So I got up real early that morning and went to Target and waited around for 4 hours while they unloaded it from a truck. But I got to have some Jack in the Box in the meantime, so it wasn't all bad. But, you know, when I went back, they had the 2 Skylynxes on the shelf then, so I was able to go and easily just grab one off and go check out with it. And $40 off coupon off an $80 toy, plus the 5% discount you get for every purchase made with the red card itself, got it down to $42.50 with tax.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
The coupon was going to expire on the 29th, too, so it was kind of getting down to crunch time with that. So I'm glad that finally came in. I have not turned it into the base mode yet. It was clear that it was going to take a lot more flat space real estate than I immediately had available. So that's something I'm going to have to mess with a little bit later on. Probably set that up in my photography space, because that's like the biggest empty, flat, stable space I have to work with at the moment. But I'm really impressed with how big Skylynx feels. You know, the box, which did I bring that in here? Yes. You know, the box, I think this box is skinnier than Jetfire's box was. Yeah. So like getting this is like, wow, I thought this was supposed to be like, you know, a big toy. It felt, you know, reasonably heavy, but the box kind of was misleading into how big the toy actually was. But like, it's really kind of crammed in there. They used as much of the available internal volume as they could. So, you know, once you get out and put the pieces together, it really is pretty hefty. And neither component is all that complex, but for a bigger toy, I'm not really going to hold that against it in the same way I would like Snapdragon. Because, being a little bit more simple and not having to move in as many ways helps everything to be a little bit more solid. And like the combined Skylynx mode is really solidly tabbed together when you do it the right way. You got to go from the back clip first and then snap it into the front, and then it'll hold together. The only problem I've had with it is something I think is common in the early reports. The one set of the hinges on the wings is not super strong, so they will tend to droop in some configurations. But when it's set up like this in Skylynx mode, the hinge is already pushed back as far as it wants to go in any direction anyway, so it stays nice and solid like this. It's more of a problem just like in the individual bird mode. And getting the shuttle wings tabbed in the shuttle mode is also a little bit finicky, but I think I figured out the trick to that too. So all in all, it's pretty impressive, and especially getting it for basically half price, I'm pretty satisfied with it. It's gonna be fun too when I open up the Astro Squad Micromasters, and I can have them kind of interacting too, especially with the launch platform mode. But yeah, that's all I got this week, and so I think it's time to move on to the news. So as I mentioned earlier, we recorded RFC Extra episode 49, the Emergency Kingdom Leakcast, late last week, because Walmart leaked basically all of Transformers Kingdom in their inventory system. I say leaked, but it's in there for Walmart's internal reference purposes, for use in stocking the toy line later, and the information basically just gets data mined out because people have learned how to do that with publicly available tools like the Walmart phone app. Something that came up since the leak cast, though, was the reveal of a mysterious Headmasters assortment. So we haven't got a chance to talk about that yet.
Yeah, that's interesting to me.
Yeah, so we don't have any specific direct information about this right now. The only things we know about this, besides that there's 4 separate entries in this, comes from one of the awesome inside source people. And what they're saying is that this is going to be releases of Titan's Return Deluxes. Yeah, probably not, because from what one of them was saying, the toys may not be changed at all from the original releases. So even if you were hoping to get the Takara Headmaster faces on some of these, that may not be the case either.
Yeah, if they did Hot Rod and they put him in G1 packaging and use the Takara mold for it, I'd be okay with that.
So I think the point of this more is to get toys like Chrome Dome and Weird Wolf, get the actual Headmaster characters into rotation again, rather than the oddball stuff that they turned into Headmasters to pad out Titan's Return. So Hot Rod probably wouldn't be on the table for this, but
Hot Rod.
Go ahead, Don.
Well, even if he was, he'd be in the package backwards.
That would be hilarious, though.
Yeah.
No, but even if these are straight re-releases, in the case of Weird Wolf, that could be a good thing since Weird Wolf had that breakage issue.
Yeah.
And while a re-release might be susceptible to that too, at least there'd be a chance to get a fresh one and keep it in the packaging until you needed it. So there's 4 of those that have been found so far. There's no specific names attached to them yet, and what they're saying is that even though it's listed as Headmaster's assortment, it's just the way Walmart kind of cross-references and lists assortment stuff anyway when there's not a specific title on it. So these are expected to be single toys, not package releases, multi-pack releases. Now we can get into more of the leak stuff, because we've had more of Kingdom leak for us, and this time we've got images to go with it. So Transformers Kingdom Core Class Rattrap was unofficially revealed in a video review. So that happened. Was that Tuesday morning that happened? This is all kind of come and gone so fast now. the video review went up, and it was our first look at any Kingdom toy at that point. So Rattrap is a core class toy, which is the replacement for Micromasters and is more or less the size of the old Legends price point, as we can kind of determine from some of the comparison shots here. We have on tfradio.net/news in the article for this, there's some screenshots from the video and a link to the video itself. I was kind of surprised how involved the engineering was for a toy this size.
Yeah.
I was thinking the price point is probably going to be $11.99 or $12.99. I think it's going to go up.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking the same thing, even though this has been presented to us as basically taking over the Micromaster price point again. But yeah, I would be very surprised if it wasn't about $12.
Yeah.
One of the things we've heard rumored, I might have mentioned this during the Leakcast, like Micromasters are going away, which I think has been implied with what I was saying about the core class here, but Battle Masters are too. So core class looks like it's going to represent the low rung price point for Transformers Generations going forward, and we've kind of been having diminishing returns in anything below that point anyway for the last few years, so I don't think that's really that much of a shock or something to feel a loss over.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of surprised they kept it after Titan's return. But
Yeah, a little bit. Or even Power of the Primes, honestly, because that stuff clearanced out pretty hard.
yeah,
Of course, with that, like, they would have had the Titan's Return stuff already in the pipeline, so they couldn't really... Oh, no, Titan's Return came first. I've had to talk a lot tonight. It kind of mushes the brain. But yeah, so getting Battle Masters at all was kind of surprising after the Prime Master thing, but, you know, at this point it does seem like it's finally over for that very lowest price point level.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rattrap is pretty screen accurate looking, transforms into a good looking and like virtually life-size mouse through a surprising number of steps. Like, opinions are a little bit mixed on this from what I've seen in the reaction since this went up, but for the most part, it seems to be getting some positive reception. It can maybe do with a little bit more paint, but what are you going to do with a $10 or $12 price point toy?
Yeah.
The one thing I noticed in particular about this, well, two things. There's no 5mm ports or pegs anywhere on this toy that I could see in the video content. The hands are definitely a smaller peg size. I'm going to say probably 3mm like the flight stand ports.
Hmm.
And then the other thing I noticed was that all the joints are ball joints again, which if this doesn't have to support weaponizer parts or, you know, modulator armor, like it is not a big deal to have ball joints. Siege stuff and Earthrise stuff kind of moved away from that to make sure the joints had strength to have stuff strapped onto them like that, but at least the core class doesn't seem to have that as a motivating design function.
well, core class, and you know, like we said, the old Legends class, it was always okay for those classes to have ball joints. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think the deluxes are gonna go back to using ball joints. I really think they'll stick with what they've been doing in that class.
If only we had some deluxes we could look at and, you know, try to make that determination.
Yep.
Oh, look, some deluxes leaked today. So we had pictures of deluxe Cheetor and Blackarachnia leak out through channels this afternoon. So that's giving us our first look at two more toys. Also, in one of these pictures where there's a bunch of Cheetors, there's also a pair of partially transformed Warpaths, which it's hard to really make anything out of what they are at this point, since neither is like fully tank or fully robot. But yeah, looking at the pictures, we do have like Cheetor. You get a good look at the robot mode in this one presentation slide. That's probably going to get somebody fired. And it does look like that's back to having like hinge joints and universal joints more than it has ball joints. Looking at Blackarachnia, though, that might be the same case, although I see some stress relief slots on there that could indicate the presence of ball joints in some places. It's a little bit hard to tell from the angles we have right now. The same kind of stress slots are used for mushroom peg swivels as well.
Yeah,
So
that
it could
mushroom
just be
pegs
that.
on her. I can tell that.
Okay.
Yeah, if you look at her right arm, you can see one of them turn so that you can see the mushroom peg.
Right. Okay. Yeah, so good. Then we're maintaining the same engineering throughput from Siege and Earthrise, which I've really liked that as a design advancement in Generations to move away from ball
Absolutely.
joints and the bigger toys.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think of our first look at these new Beast Wars toys?
I'm really happy with just about all of it. I think it all looks quite good.
Cheetor looks
because I was a little
really good in his beast mode.
Mhm.
Robot mode, there's something about it that just, I don't know, it just looks like a Cyberverse figure to me. I think it's the color of blue that they're using, maybe.
Maybe, and that blue probably won't look like that in real life. And actually, if you look at the picture with the group of Cheetors and the warpaths, the blue there looks a lot lighter.
Yeah, and that I may feel differently once I get it in hand, but yeah, that I think I like the samples better than the one that says review meeting all over the photo.
Well, it's good if you like the samples better because that's probably more representative of what the actual toy is going to look like.
Yeah.
Blackarachnia, I'm really surprised how accurate the robot mode looks and not having like a ton of alt mode parts that aren't supposed to be there. Like the spider legs are supposed to be hanging off the arms like that, but there's, the spider abdomen is barely visible as the backpack.
Yeah, her I need to see in beast mode, definitely.
Yeah, I'm really interested in how that turned out. Of course, if the beast mode's kind of not great on this, this is a $20-ish deluxe versus $140 masterpiece. I think in this case, it's much easier to live with having just one good mode and one mode that's maybe passable.
Yeah.
And for most people, they're going to want to prioritize the robot mode for these characters over the beast mode, I'm pretty sure. Because consider, too, like before this, the closest thing we had to, before this in the Masterpiece, the closest thing we had to a show-accurate Blackarachnia was the Takara Legends figure, which was a retool of animated Blackarachnia, which, it does a pretty good job of getting the look across, but it's still not exactly what you would want if you want something really representing the Beast Wars look.
And just to let everyone know, we are looking at photos on tfradio.net, and the new photo editor is really nice. You don't have to go back to the page to click on the next photo anymore. You can easily go through the photos. So this is definitely now going to be my go-to site for news. Because it's so easy to view the photos and it looks so nice on my screen.
Diecast is talking about the image browser, but okay, so 5 minutes ago, Don was trying to interject his thoughts here, and Diecast kind of railroaded over him. So let's run back to Don for a minute.
All right, I'll admit that's okay. I'll admit one of the things that worried me was them going back to beasts after doing vehicles, especially G1 style vehicles, for so long, kind of like what we were looking at again from going from Beast Wars 2 and Beast Wars Neo to car robots. There are some designs in car robots that are not the most family friendly, but there's that. So again, it's nice to see them being able to do a combined line in which the beast modes aren't suffering from lack of people not having design experience with making beast modes work. I think Rattrap looks good. I think Cheetor's, compared to Generations Cheetor, his cheetah mode looks incredible incredibly solid. I think the robot mode looks good. Blackarachnia looks very good. Although I do want to see your spider mode. So that was just my main concern, is them going back to beasts after, because really the only beasts they've done are really for Cyberverse, and that aesthetic and price point really isn't what you would be using in the Generation / Kingdom line. So I'm glad that concern seems to be, resolved right now. So yeah, I like what I'm seeing. It's I just want to see a little more down the road, because I doubt this stuff will cover all of next year, because I think we're still going to probably have the fourth quarter have some stuff coming up for the holidays, like whatever the big thing is for the holiday season next year. So hopefully we won't get spoiled on that far out as well.
We'll find out about that sometime around next June, probably.
Well, we did talk about it on the last leak cast. But
No,
that
I
was
think-
all speculation.
Yeah, no, he's talking about for next year, though, isn't he?
Wouldn't that be for next year?
Maybe I'm confused. Wouldn't be the first time. Anyway, yeah, so I'm optimistic looking at these right now. To Don's point about transitioning from like vehicles into beasts, I kind of feel like my not so great feelings on the 2014-ish Beast Wars Generations toys they did, that like they kind of hit the check boxes but didn't really feel like they had a lot of spirit behind them. I'm kind of thinking that might have been the same issue of like, doing so much Generation 1 style stuff and then trying to shift gears into animal forms might have hurt that a little bit. Hopefully with this being like a whole feature throughout next year's line, they took a step back and refocused themselves onto this, and we'll get some better feeling results out of it. Like, I'm not expecting miracles with this. I just, I'm really hopeful for something that I will be able to pick these up and be like, okay, this is pretty cool. I'm glad we got this year.
And to be fair, we have gotten some things with beast forms since 2014. Some of them more successful than others. The Terrorcons basically count.
Yeah.
The Dinobots, Predaking.
I mean, okay, Predaking's a bad example to use.
Yeah.
Because Predaking is bad itself, I think. I know other people are probably fine with it, but I never cared for that, and so I'm just going to assume that I'm just going to like imply that it's blanket bad, because that's how the internet works. Yeah, no, I don't know, like the Dinobots and Predaking, it's G1 stuff, so like that's kind of in their wheelhouse to go back to. Going wholesale into Beast Wars kind of stuff feels like more of a transition step.
Yeah, that's fair.
But hopefully this will all just turn out and it'll be good and we'll be happy. Looking at how Rattrap worked in that video, I feel really good about how that's going to be in hand. As much as I don't want these leaks to continue right now, I would like Hasbro to at least get their reveal event off the ground first before we get the entirely too early in-hand samples out on YouTube and such. But I'm looking forward to seeing how Blackarachnia and Cheetor, how those actually work in practice, in action.
Yeah.
But
also,
after Hasbro presents the stuff. Sorry, Rob.
Yes, I was just going to say along those lines. Also, if you have any kind of privileged information and you will lose your job if it gets out, don't tell anybody.
Right.
Not anybody. Because maybe you can trust them, but can you trust their friends that they think they can trust? That's always the question.
Yes, that's the thing with the chain of trust. There's always a weak link.
Yes, there is.
So moving on from the leak content, assuming no one else has anything they'd like to add to the Beast Wars content here. No? Good. Okay, so moving on from RFC News Desk episode 115. Generation Select Sandstorm, what? And G2 Megatron officially revealed. So G2 Sandstorm. That's a thing. So G2 Sandstorm is a Seeker concept piece that was designed back in the early 90s and was never used or put into production, but it used the Conehead Seeker variant. Basically, they took a G2 Ramjet that they had it from production and painted it in desert camo colors and used that as a pitch piece for another Seeker they would have released, but it never happened. Well, now we're getting that exact same thing from the Earthrise Conehead mold in Generation Selects. So that was revealed, Friday night around midnight US time. It came out right after we finished recording the Leakcast.
What's up with the timing on that? That was the worst timing, because I woke up Saturday morning and I'm, looking through Twitter and people have photos of these things. They're like, oh, these look pretty interesting. And I'm like, then I finally see that someone said they're available for pre-order, and I go on Hasbro, Hasbro Pulse, and Sandstorm's already sold out. What? I didn't have any warning.
Nobody did.
No.
So these reveals and the pre-orders launching seem to have been time coordinated for Singapore. Because the website that had the first look in hand photos and I guess some video content on that was a Singapore-based website, and they were pointing to retailers local to them where you could place pre-orders that went live at the same time. And basically coinciding with that, Pulse and the other fan channel retailers had pre-orders for us. We'd been assuming that G2 Megatron was going to be part of Transformers Tuesdays, one of the 5 reveals of Generation Selects we've been told to look forward to. So obviously that's not the case anymore, because it would be stupid to do a Transformers Tuesday reveal for something that went up last Friday.
Yeah, so Sandstorm I had to get from Entertainment Earth.
Yeah.
Thanks to Chris for, giving me the heads up that might be a good place to check. But I'm just, some of these figures just sell out a lot quicker than others, and I'm thinking there may be production run size differences in some of the figures. Like G2 Megatron, who should have sold out, in my opinion, should have sold out first, is still available for pre-order. So they must have a larger run of him, because he's amazing.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with Megatron. I'm oddly impressed with Sandstorm too.
Me too.
I mean, Sandstorm's a Seeker. I have to have. It's kind of like, maybe Matt brainwashed me in that you got to get all the Seekers. But
it doesn't hurt that the Earthrise Seeker mold is a really nice design. It's a really good toy. It's something I don't mind owning several copies of. Of course, it's also always going to probably be in my head before anything else Desert Ramjet, more than I'm going to identify it as Sandstorm the Decepticon necessarily. But,
Yeah.
I like those colors on that mold. The deco worked out really nicely on that. And I didn't get Combat Megatron, which was the first Generation Selects figure. Because at the time I didn't feel a need to own a second copy of that Megatron mold. But for a completely different kind of unproduced G2 thing that's been given new life on a modern toy, yeah, I'm up for that. That was a really nice surprise to have. It was funny too, because Diecast, you headed off pretty early after we finished the Leakcast, and me and Matt and Rob were sitting around still talking when this went up. So, so for 45 minutes, we were just talking about where did this come from? What is going on with this? And, placing our orders. And it was an interesting post-show time that unfortunately I don't think got recorded at all. Oops.
No, I don't think it did. I'm still just very pleased that we got through talking about the entirety of next year's toys, basically, getting leaked and spoiled for us. And while we're sitting around after doing that, here comes this thing completely out of nowhere. That was just the perfect capper for the night. It was great.
Yeah, so earlier that same day, we had a fuzzy picture taken off of a screen, a photograph of a screen showing that Sandstorm in robot mode with zero context for what it was, and some people were floating the idea too that it might have even been like a fake. Somebody was just trying to pass off as a leak because of being, a screen photograph like that. Because that's a good way to cover up bad recoloring of something. Make all the errors just look like imperfections from being 2 or 3 generations removed. But no, like Sandstorm ended up being as close to a complete surprise as anything we could really hope for in this day and age.
Yeah.
So that was fun, and those are going to be out in December or February, depending.
So that means how many Transformers Tuesday figures do we still have left to reveal?
Well, we had one yesterday, which was the 3rd one, so there's 2 more. And in the block of Generation Selects serial numbers that we know of right now, because yesterday's reveal was GS22, which is the highest number we'd known about. So in that block, there's still 2 unaccounted for, so that's going to probably wrap up those 2 slots over the next 2 weeks. And I think that's 17 and 20.
But
Not that it matters, because like obviously the sequencing of this has absolutely zero impact on anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we have no idea what they are.
None at all. There is the possibility one of them is the Ratchet and Lifeline / Paradron Medic 2-pack. But there is conflicting information whether that is a Selects offering or some other kind of store exclusive or special format release. So even that's not certain. And even if that's also the case, like if Ratchet and Lifeline even were numbered separately in the packaging, I don't think they would have one B17 and one B20 in the same box. It would be, back-to-back numbers if they were going to be separately numbered. So there would still be something probably that we don't know about.
Right.
So next Tuesday ought to be really interesting until somebody leaks something this Friday.
Yeah.
'Cause that's just the world we live in. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about this week's Transformers Tuesday reveal. So part 3 was Generation Selects Blackarachnia, which is the Black Zarek recolor of Fast Track.
Looks good.
Looks gold.
Yeah.
Very, very gold. Am concerned.
Yeah. I mean, what Eric Crownover was saying on Twitter is that they have he's talked to people and they say they have solved the gold plastic problem, but
I know
that's something we're only gonna go.
I know Hasbro has said that, but I don't trust it yet. Like, it's going to take years before I will trust that it's not going to fall apart.
At least it's not like vac metal chrome, because that would be really bad. But
yeah, that too. So, from what I gather, Hasbro and Big Bad Toy Store facilitated a few samples going out to video reviewers. So there is some in-hand content for this already. And what it looks like is there is a combination of, well, it appears to all be gold plastic underneath, but some of that is then further painted over gold to have the really like shiny metallic effect on it even more strongly. So like there's a little bit of a mismatch to the finish depending on the parts, because there is still unpaintable plastic parts in there which they would cast in the waxy semi-gold color that we complain about sometimes in nylon plastics, because you just can't get some colors to work in some plastic finishes. It's just kind of a reality of the materials. But like overall, it's pretty well matching, kind of, sort of.
the worst part about this figure is now we have to listen to everyone for a while say, "Where's my Black Zarek?"
Yeah, so inside track on that is that there's no plans to do a Black Zarek.
To the surprise of basically no one.
Exactly.
Well, no,
I mean,
that's just going to make everyone angry.
Yeah, probably. No, I mean, like, I can't blame people for wanting to infer from the existence of this that, yeah, maybe, like, a little farther down the line, that's something that could come out. But, like, realistically, reasonably, with everything we know about how Hasbro looks at the economics of these toys, yeah, we're not getting an obscure recolor of a giant toy. as a selects or other limited run thing. Like the only possible exception would be another Grand Max situation where it's a pre-order campaign first, and even then I think we'd have to rely on Takara to run that for us and not Hasbro directly. It would be a big production, a big deal to make something like that happen, and I just don't see that anywhere in the near future. If we were looking at a situation where next year there was not going to be a Titan class figure taking up that that price point spot and that factory production time, maybe then I could see it being a little bit more likely. They run the recolor of Scorponok next year in place of next year's Titan, but we already have inside rumors that there's a Titan for next year and it's going to be something completely different. So unfortunate, but at the same time not surprising. But yeah, I pre-ordered one of these because Fast Track and Rorichi, the robot modes are designed a lot more to match the Master Force guard minders, which was the Fast Tracks, but adapted up to an animation model. So the toys match that a lot more. And in that context, you don't need a Black Zarak for Black Rorichi because it's just the leader of the Guardminder squad for Master Force. So I've got one of these on pre-order as the leader for my squad of Fast Tracks, whose number I can't entirely confirm, but I think I've found at least 5 so far that I have on pre-order.
Okay.
I'm very proud of you.
Yeah,
Chris.
I have problems. Oh, I'm very disappointed in me. Let's see. So the last thing we have here, and like my big regret for Matt not being able to join us this week, we have prototype images of the new Masterpiece Starscream that's in development.
Okay.
So from what I can gather of this looks like it's interior pages from Figure King magazine. And what we're seeing here looks like kind of, I'd say, a midpoint production prototype. Basically, this would be like a design and engineering study model, I think. So while it has some of the moving parts that would represent how the transformation works, this is not itself designed to transform. We're only seeing it here in robot mode, for instance. The surfaces are very undetailed. So this is basically just representing how the parts are going to work together and like the basic proportions, the build of it for the production piece, but there's still a lot more that has to be added and worked through on this before it goes into like final prototype or test shot stage.
Yeah, this is like the gray Unicron prototype that was floating around that could not transform.
In absolute terms, I would say this would be more earlier than what we got to see of Unicron. I want to say one of the updates somewhere showed like a really undetailed Unicron build. So we did see something similar to this for Unicron, but like the ones they were actually like purposely showing off were much more of a representation of what the final product was going to be than what this is. Like the silhouette of this, I would say, is absolutely what the new Masterpiece Starscream is going to look like in robot mode, but it's going to be surely more detailed, and there's probably going to be more hinges and swivels and other moving elements as they work on the transformation engineering and start representing that into their prototypes.
Yeah, and I hate to be that guy, but I'm keeping my make-believe speakers.
I mean, that's fair. Like, I can certainly see how this is a stylistic improvement over the original and the revised official Masterpiece Starscreams. But I can also see how the way they've gone for the looks on this would not be for everybody.
And I'm worried, like, I hate saying that, I'll just stick with the make toys, because I feel like I should be supporting Masterpiece, so I get more Masterpieces because it's what I like. But
if you support Masterpiece, who's going to support you?
Yeah, Masterpieces are getting to that point where, like, I don't know that I want to support it anymore. It's very I'm very conflicted.
I only have so much blood to sell.
You only come with 2 kidneys.
Yeah. I'm probably going to need those later.
At
I
least one
still
of
want a
them.
Masterpiece Jazz. There's still things that I want them to do in the Masterpiece line, and this is the third Starscream, and I understand it deserves an update, but I can't argue with people who say like, yeah, maybe we should have got a Jazz first before we got our third Starscream revision.
And like, it's too early for Takara to be talking pricing for this, but we can use our sense of reason here. We can logic this out, and this is probably going to be like comparable to MP44 minus the trailer. So, $250, $300
Yeah, $250
probably for one Seeker.
Yeah.
And there's at least 3 Seekers and possibly 6 if they decide they want to design conehead parts for these. So you're going to need a small mortgage to get like the whole set if they get that far with this. It's not something I could justify either, even if I had like scads of disposable income like Diecast seems to. There's limits, and this kind of feels like it goes beyond that.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily advocating for buying third party in place of official where official product exists, but like, damn, man. I don't have thousands of dollars for Seekers. Matt might, but I don't. That'd be funnier if Matt was here, to be honest.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm interested by seeing this stage of the production process. Like, I've gone on record many times, like the inner workings of how Transformers are made is super, super interesting to me. So something like this really catches my attention. At this point, though, I'm a lot more interested in seeing like when they get to a model that can transform, what that's going to look like. Because if you remember it was either a magazine scan like this or from one of the Generations books, they had and I'm going to use this term very conservatively here, exploded view of MP44 transforming, where like from point to point you couldn't tell what was even going on anymore. Like there was not any linear progression, and it's just like, okay, it's kind of exploded now. It's exploded in a completely different place over here, and I don't know what happened to that other part. And this is now off like in orbit somewhere. The first look we had at Masterpiece Beast Wars Dinobot was the exact same thing. At the midpoint of that, when they had that diagram, it looked like a piece of overcooked fried chicken that had exploded in the fryer. Believe me, I know what that looks like. I know what literal popcorn chicken looks like. And, Dinobot was doing a really good impression. So, like, I fear for the engineering on this as much as I fear for the price. I've known for a long time Masterpiece is not for me, but, like Diecast is saying, it's feeling like it's not for a lot more people as it goes on and on.
Yeah.
But, maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised, and this will only be 20,000 yen, and the engineering will be comparatively simple, and, people will be really happy with this one. But I kind of doubt it.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay, well, that will wrap up the news for this week. So, as usual, I want to thank our patrons at the touched level, as we do every week. So thank you to Kevin Dorsey, Sean Bratton, Jacob Owen Lutia, Sean Hamilton, Jason W. Rye, Mike Mallory, Jason Hiley, Jonathan James, Matthew Deadman, Hector Bones, Nathan Sampy, Spider Bob, Rabbits, Emmett Stresovich, Gaming Fix, Patrick Davidson, and Joey Russell. If you would like to help support RFC and the news desk and all the stuff we do here, you can go to patreon.com/tfradio. At the touch level, you will be added to the credits list that we read from every week on the show. You can also find all of our patron credits at tfradio.net/credits. That's there to look at any time you want to see who's giving a little bit back to help keep us doing what we do here. If you'd like to help support the show in another way, of course, you can use our Amazon link, tfradio.net/Amazon. There's all kinds of stuff you can get there. Please buy a lot of it because the referral fees are not what they used to be. And of course, there's tfradio.net/shirt, where we have our merchandise store with all kinds of amazing designs done by our own John DeLuna. He's a machine and an artist.
True. All true. Hey, by the way, too, I don't know if it's going to be, I don't know if it's still going to be active by the time you listen to this. Almost certainly not if you're going to listen to this like in 2021. But right now, it's up to 35% off all the stuff at our store. And they have added kids size masks. So that's fun. So if you have any little ones running around that need a mask up, we've got stuff that will delight you and maybe confound them, but your nostalgia, mom and dad's nostalgia button will be, mashed. We're mashing that button on mom and dad, and your little kid will tolerate it like they do everything else about your hobby. So anyway, go to our store and check them out.
I think a kid might not understand the actual point of a mask, but I think they would appreciate the design of the mask either way.
Yes, it's cool and colorful, and sure, you can explain that to them in the car. Explain mask to them, please do.
Don?
One thing, Chris, I wanted to bring up was I just saw this on Twitter. Thanks to give credit, at Twypony. Well, we retweeted it, but for the people that haven't seen it, there's a new Humble Bundle out right now that is starring a lot of the Marvel comic crossovers. You can pay $1, $8, or $15 to unlock different things, and even the dollar level, you get Transformers vs. Terminator, Transformers vs. G.I. Joe, the new Transformers My Little Pony issue number 1. If you pay the $8 bundle, you get Transformers Visionaries, Transformers vs. G.I. Joe, Transformers ROM, the Gem as well. If you pay $15, you get Star Trek Transformers, Ghostbuster Transformers, and so you get a lot of different things. So if anyone's interested in helping out Hasbro Children's Fund and getting a lot of comics, be sure to check out at humblebundle.com the IDW crossover sale.
Yeah, I'm looking at that now. So as of the time we're recording this, which is August 26th, there's just over 20 days left on it. So that would run it through like the middle of September. So if you're listening to this sometime before, the second week or so of September 2020, that's definitely a thing to check out. And if not, go check out Humble Bundle anyway, because they've probably got something interesting. Humble Bundle, kind of like that, is how I got Sony Vegas legit for like $20.
Likewise.
And that has come up more than once. So, like, if you're in the market for video editing software, stuff like that, Humble Bundle is a good thing to check out because they have, like, surprisingly good stuff like that quite a lot of the time. Maybe not video editing specifically, but useful software and fun stuff like the comics, too. We don't get any referral back off of that, but, like, it's a good cause usually.
Yeah. So. And $15 just for Transformers versus G.I. Joe would be worth it. And there's so much other good stuff here too.
Yeah, because I was gonna say that's cheaper than the collection that they sell normally.
I think it's almost cheaper than one volume out of the 3 you'd get. And of course, Star Trek versus Transformers was not bad, and Alex Milne just knocks ROM versus Transformers out of the park art-wise. It's really well done.
Yeah. Okay, so once again, you can join us in live chat every week while we're doing the show at tfradio.net/discord. We do our best to keep an eye on that during the run of the show. Of course, Kilby's a lot better at that than I am, because usually when I'm running through the stuff, I'm like really focused on what I'm talking about, or I'm looking at the show notes to kind of keep myself on track. So I've been a little bit sketchy on watching the Discord tonight, so sorry about that if you said something interesting and we kind of ignored it. Apart from that, we're on like all the platforms that deliver content, basically. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Definitely subscribe to us on YouTube if you don't, because that's how you get notified of when we go live. If you're not exactly paying attention to what time or day it is, I know a lot of time I forget what day it is. But if it's a platform that you can get multimedia content on, odds are we have a presence there somewhere. You can find this episode at tfradio.net/689 to view the show notes, the same thing that I focus on and ignore the chat for this week. Also, if you would like to leave us a voicemail or send us a text message, you can send that to 931-99-GOBOT, 931-994-6268. Rob Springer is not here with us on the show every week, but he is always in our hearts. You can also find him, though, more easily at RoboRobSpringer on Twitter or zonebase.org. I'm kind of all over the place myself. Personally, I'm on Twitter at ChrisRTXV. I just updated my sales list today, so go check that out and buy something from me because I like having money. If you like the toy photography work I do, you can find the collected works of that at playwithphotography.com. You can also follow me on social media at instagram.com/playwithphotography or at playwithphotos on Twitter, where I post random photos. Sometimes they're like previews of galleries I'm working on, or sometimes it's just like I will go grab a few toys and take them over to the photo studio and set up and just take some shots that I think look cool and share them out. There's really no rhyme or reason. Because sometimes you just look at a toy and think, that would make a really cool photo with X or Y color background. Brian Kilby, of course, was not with us this week, but you can find him at briankilby.com or at bkilby on Twitter. He also frequently is the one tweeting from at TFRadio when at TFRadio tweets out original content. Otherwise, I'm often retweeting, stuff from there for news desk purposes. But it's usually one of us. Let's see. Rob, why don't you go ahead and do your plugs next?
Okay, I am on Twitter at Figure Reviewers and Rob Flails, which is the official Twitter of Flailthroughs, my YouTube channel, which covers mostly Gundam games at the moment. Gundam Battle Operation 2 is still going strong. This last week, we added the Zeta Plus A1, which is really nice, actually. And this is going to sound like a dumb thing to be excited about, but next month we get water. Like
I understand the context of that, but
yeah, but for everybody else, so since the game has started, we have had mobile suits, which in the Universal Century in the series are identified as amphibious mobile suits: the Agai, the Zgok, the Gog, things like that. And yeah, they're finally adding the water to go with those 2 years in. So it's we're all really looking forward to that. It's going to be fun.
So is that expected to offer like a performance boost to the Marine mobile suits, or
it's very likely because there are already mobile suits that have specialization for space or ground and get, for example, better thruster efficiency in that environment. So I think the odds are good that the same will happen for the aquatic mobile suits. And
I saw you talking about the Zeta Plus A1 on Twitter a little while back, and that it was in a lot of ways basically just like a worse but flying Hyakushiki. Do you think they're going to add the C1 for the space stages?
I'm really hoping so. I'm thinking that will probably end up being a support class, which is the only type that does not have a Zeta Gundam variant yet. So
makes sense.
Yeah, so we're hoping to see that. It would also be the first transforming support, so that would be interesting. And beyond that, if you like the Gundam stuff I do over there, or just feel like supporting me in general, patreon.com/flailthroughs. For a couple bucks a month, you can request specific mobile suit weapon color combinations in basically currently Gundam Battle Operation 2 or Gundam Extreme versus Maxi Boost on. That doesn't have weapon or color customization, but tell me a mobile suit and I will try it out. And also, if you just want to throw random objects at me, there's a selection of random objects I would appreciate having thrown at me at tfradio.net/playlist.
What an interesting way to put that. Don, you want to unmute and go next?
Yes, I can be reached on Twitter at HMRC, the number 4, EVR.
Diecast.
The first thing you want to do is follow me on Twitter at Diecast2, where you can see my picture of counterfeit MP44 riding Skylynx, or riding just Lynx, actually. Lynx is a lot better figure than I realized, because I only played with the sky part of it, I guess. God, his name's confusing to me. But yeah, that's a better toy than I initially thought. The Lynx is really nice. And but other than that, you can also like my page on Facebook at Reviews by Diecast, and you can see all my reviews at tfradio.net/reviews.
I bet you'd like Skylynx even better if you'd gotten it for $42.50.
Yeah, yes, I would have. I would. When I saw that, the first thought was like, that's a good toy for that price.
I gotta get as much mileage out of that as I can, because by next week it'll be, old hat. All right, John.
That John D everywhere.
You are so hard to find.
I am not, unfortunately. It's a double-edged sword.
Oh, I forgot two of my own plugs. So, if you want to support the photography work I do, or just, show me you care, patreon.com/playwithphotos. Tiers start at like $2 per month and go up a little bit from there, with different benefits available. And like Rob, if you want to just toss me random merchandise or some gift cards or something, I have an Amazon wish list at tfradio.net/chrislist. And of course, both of our wish list links help to give back a little bit to the show, just like the regular Amazon link or the TF Radio Patreon, which you should totally become a member of and help support what we're doing. So that'll do it for this week. Thanks everybody for watching, and thanks you guys for being here. See you next time.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. That was great.
And
Welcome
I'll stop
back.
the backup recording. So I know you can't go into detail right now, but everything okay?
Yeah. Hey, actually, people watching live, I'm going to kill the stream because we have some recording to do for our patrons.
Sorry, live viewers. No after show this week.
After
but
show.
Maybe next time.
But you had a heck of a pre-show.
But if you want to get in on what we're recording right now, tfradio.net/Patreon or patreon.com/tfradio.
Yep.